Whether you're looking for a Chevy car, truck, or SUV, go see my friends at Apple Chevy in Tinley Park. With over 500 new and used vehicles in stock, they have what you're looking for and at the lowest price possible. Go to applechevy.com.
Fake, yeah. That's that I don't like. No. A snitch, that's that I don't like. No. That's that I don't like. No. Sneak, that's that I don't like.
All right, you may be wondering on WGN, what
was that?
What is that?
And hard to get one sentence in because it was bleep so much.
That is Chief Keef. That's the guy that everybody's so all gaga over, pardon the expression. I would say all on Twitter over, but we can't even take any of those terms anymore because they're all taken by other entities. And why is Chief Keef? This is a kid from Chicago who is broken into the rap scene and made a name for himself as a gangster rapper, a rapper, whatever however you want to define it. And is and now he lives in Los Angeles, but when he was in Chicago, he made headlines every day for a different police organization, pulling him over, looking for him.
Pointing a gun at a police officer was one of the juvenile offenses.
He's had all kinds of trouble. And Adrian Samuels Gibbs is a writer at the Chicago Sun-Times. And a year ago wrote this, and I talked about it on the old radio station, the old show at the other place, wrote this amazing story where you went out to Los Angeles for his 19th birthday. And he was having a party out there. And it was a party and a concert, right? People were paying to be a part of it.
Yes, it was his comeback concert. It was supposed to be, you'd have
comeback from what? He's 19.
Well, he missed quite a few concerts. You know how that goes. Uh-huh. You book concerts, you promise people to go. In fact, he was supposed to be at a concert to raise money for cancer, breast cancer awareness, like in Cincinnati. And there's all kinds of things. Right, no shows. And so people started to sue him. There was actually a long list of people that began to sue him looking for their money back. And, those things, some of those things are still in court. But he had this concert in L.A. to prove to everyone
that he could show up somewhere.
He'd show up. He would perform some songs for real, really real, for real.
Well, we heard some real right there.
We heard something there. Yeah, I'm not sure what it was.
There was something going on there, yeah.
And he showed up.
Okay. Now, and you sat down with him, and before we get into the kind of where we are here, because I think the idea, I think people who are elliptically knowledgeable in Chicago about him, like, oh yeah, Chief Keef, that's the guy that the cops always want. That's the guy that was going to have the concert and he couldn't show up, so they were going to do a hologram, and then he was going to do this hologram, and and then that didn't show up, and then the hologram showed up, and then the cops shut it down, and it's like, and so who is this guy that is drawing all of this attention?
Who is he? He's 20 right now. He'll be 21 in a couple of weeks. And he is someone that a lot of people don't like at all, but he's got millions of fans.
How is that possible?
Millions of fans. People just like his music. And now, the qualifier is a lot of people don't like his music. However, he's pulling down $5,000 a week in T-shirt sales alone. Somebody likes him. A whole lot of somebody. T-shirts.
That's separate from his music. And
that's $250,000 a year in T-shirts.
T-shirts. That's right. T-shirts.
Yeah. And
what does the T-shirt say? Can we even say it? Do we know?
Yeah, some of them say GLO Gang. That's like the name of his group, Glow Gang. Mm-hmm. Some of them have that picture of like a sun with thick eyebrows, kind of squinting, literally like a sun. It's like a highly stylized sun image. The Glow Gang is shining light on Chicago, that kind of thing. And I'm sure all kinds of things I don't understand. It might be way over my head for that.
Well, or under your head in some cases here, I think, because
yeah, I think
because
so.
isn't really okay. So it was an entertaining story. We remember he had a BMW and he kept getting pulled over in Northfield. Everybody gets pulled over in Northfield, but he was getting.
Did you get pulled over in Northfield?
Yeah,
okay.
and there was a shooting at his manager's house, right?
Yes, that's correct.
It also went to Northfield. They had to get out of Chicago. They went up to Northfield. Northfield was thrilled about that. And then there was a shooting. And they said there's going to be trouble, and then there was. And then he leaves here. He's got weapons violations. He's got he had some paternity issues, right?
That's right. Hasn't paid a few bills,
right?
According to court records.
But now this Alki David, the guy, this billionaire from the West Coast, who seems to have embraced him, says, well, he's turned his life around. He's a dad, and he's taking care of all that stuff. Do we know if he's taking care of all that stuff?
that's the word on the street. Now, and during our interview, he did talk about KK, his daughter, who is probably 3 going on 4 right now. Beautiful little girl, well taken care of.
So he was 16 or 17 when he had the kid.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So she's, well taken care of. And, he loves being a dad. I mean, his whole demeanor, in the interview, when we talked about his daughter, a lot of the bravado and the
craziness.
Yeah, it just kind of dropped off a little bit.
That's good to hear.
So it's like, okay, that's different. It's kind of,
so you saw a human in there.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Not just a performer, not just a paid-for tough guy.
Absolutely. That's why I did the story, because I want to, everyone has this idea, this perception, this narrative of what Chief Keef is, which to me also is an unfortunate perception of what black men are, what young black men are. And to be clear, he's a man. He's not a kid. Right. I'm short. He's taller than me.
To me, he's always going to be a kid. He's younger than my own child, so he's going to be a kid, a young man.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But I mean, he's a tall guy. Uh-huh. He kind of is built like a wide receiver. You wouldn't know any of this until you got up on him and was like, and looked up, like, oh.
And he's interesting looking.
No,
he's kind of a good looking. Again, I'm going to call him a kid. And I know he's a dynamic performer. He played Lollapalooza 3 years ago, right?
Right. He's popular. I mean, love him or hate him. And I had this long conversation with a bunch of other friends. And in fact, last week I moderated a discussion with Ice Cube and some other people from straight out of Compton. They were in Chicago showing the movie. And we talked about Chief Keef. And everyone in the audience, everyone in the audience was like, oh, Chief Keef, oh, boo, boo, boo. And I'm like, well, 1.5 million of y'all are his fans. Who's following him on Twitter and Instagram? Who's buying these T-shirts? Of followers. So his last mixtape had 57,000 downloads, I think.
Mm-hmm. But why shut him down? Do you think that there's this whole First Amendment argument that came up and saying that, hey, he's allowed to sing about whatever he wants to sing about, even if it is anti-cop and pro-gun and gangster lifestyle? I mean, why is that a problem? Do you agree with that, or you sort of think after getting to know him more that this guy could be dangerous?
Well, I can't speak to whether or not the things that he says he's done. I do know this, that when I talked with Nas, another rapper, old school rapper, about gangster rap, which real gangsters call reality rap. Gangster rap is something that media kind of made up,
right?
But it's reality rap.
Okay.
And Nas was like, I didn't know that until they told me.
Someone corrected me, and I was like, oh. Got to learn something. We learned it today.
I had no idea. Right. But he said, these are the streets talking. And the streets wouldn't have to talk if people were listening. And it kind of changed my mind about Chief Keef and some of his lyrics.
But the people are listening. See, I'm sorry to take issue with that notion, but my God, it's every night in the news the streets are talking, right? I mean, we see it. It's the idea of the glorification of it, and I think this is the problem. Let me take a real quick time out here, and then I want to come back and talk about this issue. The gangster part of this, there's a guy dead and a little kid dead as a result of this, and all within the last couple of weeks, right?
Right.
And this is so there's a real consequence to be paid here. And is there a gang war? Is there a rap gang war like there was East Coast, West Coast back in the day and all that? So is that developing here? Is he either inspiring or provoking or a part of a business mechanism that is resulting in violence on the streets here? Or is it because of his business mechanism? Is there violence resulting on the streets here? I want to get into that too and understand what is really much at the center of this. And we'll play some more of his music because, my God, it's very calming and relaxing.
Oh, my gosh.
Absolutely.
What you can play on the radio.
That's Chief Keef. He's the guy that's caused all this ruckus around here. What is Chief Keef? Who is he? Why is everybody so mad at him? You can see the stories about him and the fact that he's got these weapons charges against him here in Chicago, and he's basically the county of Lake County sheriff just put him on the national fugitive list because he has not returned to Chicago to his court dates that revolve around his child support and his other stuff, because yet he's out there, he's making all of this money in at least with t-shirt sales, and we're assuming in the music industry. And Adrian Samuels Gibbs is with us from the Chicago Sun-Times, has written extensively on Chief Keef, including having some alone time with him, one-on-one time with him, where you really were able to kind of crack the egg a little bit and see what was going on there. But I guess, to me, let's go back to this gangster thing.
Okay.
Wait, all right. So a couple weeks ago, this guy Capo, which is he was a gangster rapper, reality rapper, what do you want to call him? But that's obvious. That's a gangster term, a capo, right? Right. So he gets gunned down. People gunning him down, run over a baby on the way out of that, killing the child. And then Chief Keef wants to do a fundraiser for Capo's family and the family of the child who was killed, because they're all part of his thing. Now, who are those people, and why are they killing Capo?
Now, I couldn't begin to answer. I could imagine all kinds of things, but I don't know for sure why he's on anybody's hit list. Now, that baby dying was just broke my heart.
It did me too.
It just broke my heart.
Because the getaway car ran over the stroller.
Yeah, the getaway car ran over the stroller, and it just broke my heart. And I know people on the scene said that the driver looked very remorseful, but looking remorseful doesn't mean anything. You know, you killed a baby.
Doesn't.
Well, they were killing another guy, too.
Seriously. Does he admit, when you talked with him, Chief Keef, to living a life as a gangbanger? I mean, does he admit?
Well, he said he's done some things, and at that point, he didn't want to talk about it on camera, on record. But he was like, yeah, I've done things, but it's fine. Whatever I've done, I've gone to court for, so that's fine. But just listen to the music and listen to what's happening from it. This is why I have my music, so maybe it had some sort of positive benefit.
Well, a guy got killed.
That's interesting.
I mean, I don't know that still holds up. I mean, I know he said that to a year ago, right?
Right, that's about a year ago.
Yeah.
I mean, no one wants any of these kinds of things to happen. I mean, my gosh. And the question is it the music? Is it the streets? Is it the chicken? Is it the egg? I honestly don't know. I know there's a ton of conditions in certain neighborhoods in Chicago that certainly lend themselves to people doing things that are illegal in order to make it alive. One of the things I did ask him during our interview was, what is your solution to stopping the violence? Because all of us are talking about stopping the violence, but none of us
You're there in the middle of it.
Wherever he lived. And he was like, everybody just needs a deal. The football players need deals. The basketball players need some deals. And these kids who want to be doctors need deals. We need some doctor deals. And so it was interesting that he put doctor deal like that, because I'm like, oh, you mean like people need to go to college and get degrees? He was like, yeah, but they need to get some deals. They need some scholarships. They can't afford it.
But there are scholarships available. There are plenty of them.
Plenty.
And the thing that all right, let's talk about money here with him. You reported initially that he had what was reported to be a $6 million initial deal.
With Interscope.
With Interscope. Is that still going? Is he?
That's done. Interscope dropped him, I think, last October or
right.
so.
I read about that, but it wasn't clear why. Was it because he was flaky and wasn't showing up all the time? Was it because of this lifestyle he was leading? I wasn't sure.
They never officially said why they dropped him, but I will say this. In talking with his former publicist at Interscope Records, when I said, hey, I got Keef, here's the story. And the publicist was like, oh, send it to me, because I haven't seen him. I'd love to read your story.
Right. And so where's he making his money now? He's making the money from the T-shirt sales?
It sounds like from the T-shirt sales, and apparently this new record deal, I'm sure he got some sort of ridiculous advance for this record deal, because he's got 2 albums coming, supposedly Bang 3, and there's another one.
And who's the record deal with?
With Alki.
With Alki David.
Yeah.
So it's
the
his
one we
company,
had on the show.
Right? Yeah. So they just had like a concert deal with him. He's got a record deal. All right, well, good.
Yeah, so he's doing that. But I mean, when you really think about how most of our celebrities earn their money, it's through concert appearances and merchandise. On the streets, they call it merch. You talk to Chance, he's talking about his merch. Everyone's talking about merch. They make a ton of money off of these buttons and gym shoestrings and whatever else.
Yeah.
Leather jogging suits that are on his website right now.
Oh, I know. I was out on the Ro Concho, the Anablantis merch is unbelievable. I think we
got to go leather jumpsuit. We haven't done that yet.
I think we made like $15 last year doing this. It was great.
They were headphones. I think we used headphones, but they were signed by us. That was a pretty good one.
Okay.
Hey, he's running for mayor though, Ro. We got to mention that.
Oh
too.
yeah,
I forgot.
I got to get to the news here, but yeah, he announced he's so mad at Rahm Emanuel for canceling his concert here, or his hologram concert, because he can't actually be here because the police would arrest him if he got here on a warrant charge. He on a bail jumping charge. He would have a. He says so mad he's going to run for mayor and he's going to win. Come out and vote for me. I mean, this sounds like a kid who's just nuts. I mean, he's just like completely disconnected from reality.
Well, I'll tell you what. This is the thing about Keef that some people are so caught up in being mad at him about. I'll tell you what. He is an absolute social media genius. He is a social media genius. I don't know how he figured it out or what he did, but he's got like 1.5 million followers on Twitter, and when he posts a picture of a gym shoe on Instagram, it'll get 50,000 likes in the first 10 minutes.
Wow.
He's a crazy, he's a crazy influencer. And somehow or another, he's taking all these voices and ears and eyes he gets, and he's just turning it over into things. If he endorses something, he could probably make some things happen. That's why him saying he was running for mayor made me chuckle, because, I don't think he's actually going to run for mayor. It's a
No,
joke.
really? I don't. Wow! I was getting my Chief Keef merch ready. Chief Keef for mayor merch. I think I'll sell that. Maybe I could take a chief for mayor, something like that. See what goes.
Mayor Chief?
Mayor Chief? I don't know.
All right.
All right.
Holograms allowed.
All right. And he would have to do it by hologram because, again, he'd be arrested if he came
allowed.
here. Right. All right. Thank you very much. Great work, by the way, in the Chicago Sun-Times. This is from a year ago. The one story that I was just fascinated by, where you sat down with him and met him, but it's on the internets, where all good news lives. Adrian Samuels Gibbs from the Chicago Sun-Times. Appreciate you being here.